Hey team, welcome back to another episode of the Intentional Agribusiness Leader Podcast. This is your host, Mark Jewell, and today I'm on with Brent Deidrick. He is the National Sales Manager for AgXplore, and I'm excited to dive in and learn from Brent today. So Brent, welcome to the show, man.
Morning, Mark. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, excited to dive in and talk about your take on intentional leadership. So let's get into it. What does it mean for you to be intentional?
Great question. I guess to start off with, I'd say the first thing is just to have the end in mind, really is what I always think about. Make sure you have a clear goal, whatever you're trying to accomplish. And then obviously for me in my role with being responsible for some people underneath me, our sales staff and things like that, it's about clear communication to them. Something we try to do is definitely make sure we've communicated very well with our people on what our goal is, make sure we get everybody pulling in the right direction. So anytime I think about anything intentional, I just want to make sure that we have something laid out and go in mind and work our way backwards and start from there.
Mm-hmm. Cool. It's such a simple thing, but hard in many cases for most to keep that end in mind,
Yeah.
I think back to the first time I read, Franklin Covey's or the Stephen Covey's book, owned by Franklin Covey. And, it's like, whatever, begin with the end in mind. Like that's one of the, principles, and simple, hard to execute though.
Well, good. Yeah, it is. It really is. It's just something I think we always got to do in our group for sure.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about AgXplore and, tell us a little bit about the company and give us a little bit of background on Brent as well.
Yeah. So, just real quick on myself, I worked in, before I came to AgX, I've been with AgX for, about 5.5 years, a couple different positions, but, I started, come from a rural area. We want to be on a farm, didn't have the opportunity to farm. So I went to school in college for agronomy. Started my way in a couple of positions in retail. So I spent most of my time before I was here in retail and sales and some key accounts and management as well. And then I got the opportunity to come to AgX 5.5 years ago, and I've done a couple of things for them. Started as a support role for tech rep style, and then kind of evolved into a territorial manager for Northern United States. And then today I've got the opportunity, been blessed to do our national sales manager and CRO for us. So it's been a very evolving, quick, awesome roller coaster.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, what are the big challenges that you're finding as a chief revenue officer, trying to bring it all in, trying to keep it all together? What's been probably about a year in the role?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So, what's been the big challenge?
So one of the cool things about our company, it's a family-owned business, pretty small for the size, honestly. Been growing like crazy, doubled over the last 5 years, but still relatively small. So one of the challenges we've had, it's been a great thing, being able to turn the ship quickly. Honestly, that's great to be able to adapt. Obviously, the market's ever changing. That's been great. It also comes with challenges too, right? We pivot quickly, but we got to change quickly. So trying to find that balance between consistency and making sure that we got everybody on board. They know which direction we're going as we've made some changes, adapted to the markets and then in leadership and things like that. That's been probably the biggest challenge, but also it's been a really cool thing to put us in a position we are today, heading in the right direction. So.
Yeah, that's good. It can be a challenging role anytime you're taking on any level of communication across so many states and so many people.
Yep.
It's a definitely a big challenge, but sounds like you got a handle on it. Talk to us a little bit about what's working for AgX around, talent, attraction, retention. There's always ups and downs, but just curious what's working today.
Yeah, I think everybody, I'm sure, facing, especially in agriculture, things have changed so quickly. Getting the next generation up and pulling in here. Something we've done, I think, has changed is our recruiting process. We didn't really have a blueprint for that, to be honest. It's kind of learned as we went, and we've adapted quite a bit. So we have an in-house recruiter. We do some stuff outside as well, but trying to get people as many touches before we get somebody in here so they understand clearly the role. We have probably 4 people that'll touch base with somebody before we actually have a job offer. So it goes to our internal recruiting to having them talk to the actual salesperson that's in the field. So if they have any questions on that, to myself, and then into an in-person. We really try to bring people into our facility too, if it works out, just so they can see the whole picture, understand what we're about and who we are. So that's changed quite a bit and been a great thing for us. It's enabled us to attract some good people. From retention standpoint, I think once we get people on board, our onboarding process has changed quite a bit. Once we get somebody in here, we have about a 4-week onboarding process we try to do with bringing people into the office, obviously getting everybody the tools they need to succeed in the field, introduction to our people, and then we try to let them out with a lot of our sales reps. So we try
Okay.
to have them in the field with different sales reps to see different styles of selling that works for people. We try to be very flexible for our sales staff today on whatever their strengths are, so that they can manage their business, their territory, whatever works for them. So we have some different styles. Obviously, we want the same messaging and things like that, but letting them have some experience with some people that do things possibly some different ways or think different ways has been really good. And then bring that back to their territory where we can help build their relationships in there. So that's worked very well for us. And I think it gives people a good jump start before they get rolling right into the role. Because obviously sales is challenging. It's frustrating at times. It's exciting at times.
Hmm.
And people gather up and down. So it's really helped us.
Yeah. How do you keep your head in the game from a sales rep perspective, and you're leading salespeople? There's so much, and I, from a coaching perspective, I work with a lot of your specific guys too.
Yep.
So part of this is on me, but how do you keep their mindset positive? I know there's so much adversity and up and down, and there's weather challenges, there's economic
Mhm.
challenges, and at the end of the day, that rep from a company like AgXplore is working with that retail entity to try to get them to sell your product, right? And sell
Yeah.
more of it, hopefully sell a lot of it. But how do you work with the guys to try to just keep their energy up, keep their attitude high?
Yeah, and as you know, Mark, especially start getting into people that are very competitive or high end salespeople, they have very high ups and very high downs. So just keeping them involved. And honestly, we don't have a cookie cutter approach. Everybody's different. So trying to find that need that makes them feel special, plugged in, connected. A lot of times, one of the strengths and weaknesses of having a small company is not having a lot of people that are close to each other. So might have 1 to 3 reps per state. They're spread out, and on a daily basis, we don't have a lot of things where they're actually seeing each other or meeting. So making sure, not only from my perspective on myself, but I think it's actually really important internally that these guys are talking to each other, supporting each other, sharing the wins, the frustrations, things like that. So we try to tailor that around that, or if there's somebody that we think connects very well, has a great relationship, or understands that person, to make sure that person is reaching out and giving them ability to speak, making sure they understand they're not on an island, and that the wins and the losses are shared.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's there is no cookie cutter approach, I don't think, right? But it's the one thing I talk to a lot of people about is that are in your role is keeping that cadence for bringing people together. You have your national sales meeting, you have maybe another time throughout the year you get everybody together, and then what's that other cadence for getting people together in person? Because I think that's the one thing that we all miss, right, in this day and age, especially. We just don't seem to get together in person as much.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, good stuff. What Brent, over the course of your career, what's been one of the big challenges that you personally had to overcome?
Um, I can't think of anything directly to say one thing that stands out. Tell you from a I guess on a broad level, just in different roles and things. When I was in a sales role, when I was responsible for myself, it's a whole different ball game as you get the ability to have a leadership role or a management role, something like that, and you're responsible for hopefully going to bat and supporting your teammates that report to you or work with you. Um, Something I found has been it's just a challenge, and I take a lot of pride to hopefully do the best I can. Is if you have changes in leadership. I've been through quite a few mergers in my career. Um, to be that sounding board, to try to be the buffer, especially it's always hard if you don't completely align with maybe people above you. I'm a big person of making sure you're chain of command kind of person. So obviously you work for somebody in the direction they want to go, things like that.
Mhm.
Help people understand the bigger picture sometimes, is always a challenge. I think communication, I think, is always hard in any organization, no matter how much you talk. Honestly, you can always just do better at communication.
Right.
And as obviously as you higher up the chain, it gets a little bit tougher to maybe see the big picture. Everybody just sees what affects them. So I always try to be that. It's always a challenge to try to make sure that I'm communicating that with people below me and make sure they understand it's okay, where they can focus on their job, control the controllables, and move on. So
Mhm.
I've been through a lot of that in my career, and it's I enjoy it. It's actually a nice challenge, but it is a challenge to make sure you keep everybody below you functioning at the highest level, focus on what they can control and keep being positive.
Yeah, I dig it. It's there's what gets communicated, and then there's what gets interpreted.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's never as cut and dried as like we sent the email and it was very clearly outlined that this is what's happening, right? There's that. And then everybody will take their life experience, their personal bias, and read into it what they think that means for them, why that was wrong, why that shouldn't have been
Yep.
done that way, right? And then it's left. And this is, I think, one of the reasons that leadership is so hard, and one of the reasons this podcast can be valuable to people is, knowing that there's other people that have to face that same challenge.
Yeah, exactly.
It's such a anytime you're going to create change, you're going to make waves, and you have to be able to shoulder that from a leadership perspective. So I'm curious, with that in mind, what do you do to keep yourself fresh, focused, energized? Because you got to have an outlet somewhere.
Yeah. Just honestly, I love staying busy. I have to be. I'm naturally already wired pretty good. I'm an early person and a late person. I just have to be involved. I'm not a good person to sit still. I love being in the field with our people, being right in there so I can understand exactly what's going on or how I can help them in any way or get the right resource anyways within our company to help them. I'm an active person anyway, so getting up early in the morning, get rolling. I try to plan my weeks out pretty well, and then have a good game plan of what we're trying to accomplish whenever I'm going with our sales reps. So that's really what, as long as I'm plugged in and I'm always talking and doing stuff, I'm in it. I love it.
Man, do you work out or anything like that? I mean, there's got to be some sort of a physical outlet there for all that work.
Yes, I do have to do that. You're definitely working out in the morning or in the evening. It's obviously a challenge. I was traveling quite a bit, but hotel workouts. But yeah, that definitely has to be a big starter for my day to get going. But making sure I'm up early and getting that thing going so my brain gets moving and is prepared for that's absolutely.
Yeah. We just ended our very busy season. It's April as we record this, and probably June when it comes out. But the first 3 weeks of the year for us are the busiest times of the year. A lot of hotel nights. I think I flew 60,000 miles in the first 90 days. And I noticed, right, that I still try to get my workout in, but it's not like wasn't the level of intensity that I needed. So I got the bright idea to join a CrossFit gym that just opened up in my county, like not too far away. We're in a very rural area, so there's nothing close. But 10 minutes away, they put a CrossFit gym in this new development. And two things: one, horrible idea, but number two, it's helped me push myself. And it's the kind of thing, like it's helping me push myself harder than I would push myself. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I will only go I'll try to go hard, but like I just did the workout this morning. I'm thinking like I would never have pushed myself that hard if there wasn't a group of people around, and others.
That is huge.
Yeah. My hope is that will be my solution for when I'm traveling, because you can always drop into a box for $20 somewhere in America, right? They're all over the place. But you got to be intentional about it. You really got to think about making that happen. So good. What's been one of the biggest wins for you, Brent?
In this role especially, it's just been awesome to get everybody refocused. I feel like we've had a lot of changes and things like that, trying to keep the consistency as much as possible, try to work on that clear communication, overdoing it, try to get a lot of people involved. It's been really fun. We have a lot of, being a smaller group, but we still have a lot of talent, a lot of people in our company that probably don't even realize how much it should be utilized, to be honest. So getting people involved and watching people step up and just take ownership of things, volunteering, where I feel like the confidence has grown or they develop as a person. We put them in the right environment. That has been just super rewarding for me watching that. And again, I love having that small group and watching people grow. So that's been a big win for me in this last year for us. We've done a lot on our product side and things like that, and marketing and stuff. And it's just time to just go for it. And we had a great group of people that are on the bus, and watching them grow internally.
Yeah, I like it. We have done some work together in the through our Thriving Leader program. I'd love to just chat about that and some of the value, because that to me is a very unique thing that we've sort of developed with AgXplore, something we'd love to do more of, and we'll continue to do with you guys. But it's such a such a cool thing. So for those listening in, basically what we do is we put on a private Thriving Leader program, which is our flagship leadership training, and AgXplore invites their customers, which seems kind of like, it may seem like a weird thing to invite people to. Most people are inviting people to, dinners and
Mhm.
trade shows and maybe a hunting trip or a fishing trip, or, and these things are all valuable. They're all good relationship building techniques. But we said, hey, why not a leadership program, a transformational leadership program for that matter, which is what it is, for your customers as a relationship building technique. So
Yep.
you talk a little bit about, why you guys do that and how that's helped.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, appreciate that. You've worked a couple of years with us. It's really helped a lot of our sales guys build some relationships with their customers. I always tell people too, I mean, I know, like you said, so it's a different thought process, right? It's the environment. It brings 100% the environment. At the end of the day, we're all still people. People deal with people. People deal with who they want to deal with. That's why I love this job. We get to pick our partners and who we think aligns well with us. And a lot of times, just in a normal day-to-day relationship, it's a lot of sales calling, it's a lot of business, and that personal development doesn't happen. No one lets their guard down. I mean, anytime you visit anybody in their place of business, there's a lot of distractions and things happening, and we're all blue collar ag retail people, and
Yeah.
I mean that's what they do. So whenever you get a chance to take somebody on something like this, I think it just shows that you're willing to invest in more than just trying to sell them something. That you truly want to be not only a business partner, but just you truly are looking out for them. That at the end of the day, hey, we're all people, and this lets everybody put their guard down and have an environment where we can talk about just all the challenges beyond just the business side of it that everybody's facing. And it's sitting through a couple of years, Mark, it's been pretty cool to just see how much everybody has in common. Whether it's on the manufacturing side, whether it's on the retail side, whether it's retaining people or whatever it is, a lot of us have a lot of the same challenges, and together we can actually solve a lot of them. And that environment has allowed us to have some conversations on a personal side or business side that we probably wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah.
I know it's opened up a lot of our sales guys too. It's kind of cool to watch that. A lot of them are sometimes they're a little timid, especially when they're trying to get a customer, a new person they're not completely comfortable with.
Yeah.
This just lets everybody just have a really cool area where you can get to talk about things. So
Yeah. Well, there's nothing like opening up an event with a kickboxing workout
yeah,
with your customer that you're trying to build a relationship with, right?
yep,
And putting on the boxing gloves and doing a little little sparring around, a little hitting some bags, and then creating that environment. That's one thing we work really hard on with the Thriving Leader program, is to create to create a transformational environment that's not your typical corporate training,
yep,
right? And make it stand out and be different in that way. In the nature of what we do is about creating conversation. First, we want that person, the individual, creating an inner dialogue with themselves that has some paradigm shifting moments throughout the course of a 2-day event. And then, secondly, to create that conversation with others so that they recognize they're not the only ones that feel this way.
hmm
And when you do that in an environment and you're there with, a vendor and a customer in the same place, or a prospective customer in the same place, all of a sudden the relationships just bloom.
yeah.
And so that was a theory I had years ago, about 8 years ago. I'm like, I think this will work.
Well, and then we've also
Yeah.
had through a lot of meetings and get talked at. Like it's definitely not going to happen at your place. Like everybody's gonna be involved, and you get a chance to
Yeah.
just have a very interactive experience where it's just not sitting there watching the
Yep.
clock. It's awesome. So
Yep. Absolutely. Cool. Well, thanks for talking a little bit about that.
yeah.
I appreciate it. What's on Brent's need to improve list for this year? What's something on your mind that's got like, hey, I gotta get better at this year.
Um, well, it kind of goes back to time. I want to say time management. It's just we got a lot of things. We've had a lot of things in the works, and we're at a spot now where just need a little bit more help too to make sure we're capturing all these opportunities and things
Mhm.
like that. Recognize, I think one of the biggest things we can do is just self-recognize our strengths and weaknesses, and just make sure we got somebody always to fill in a gap if we have a weakness in our organization. We had a couple support roles we're looking for today. Sales staff really good, but as we grow, we want to make sure that we're not ever limiting ourselves an opportunity because we're not prepared for it, or we don't have the right person, or we don't have enough, whether it's infrastructure or people, to make sure we get the things done. So we don't ever want to short our customer or our salespeople where they can't go out there and capture what we need them to do. So
Yeah.
that's one of the things for sure that we're continuing to look at and evaluate ourselves and see where our strengths and weaknesses are at, and who else we need to bring on board, or what else we need to do to shift.
Yeah, I like it. Good stuff, man.
Yep.
Well, as you think about your time on the road, any resources, podcasts you listen to, speakers you follow, books you read, anything like that that you'd recommend to the listeners?
Um, I'll be honest, it's funny. I just started reading again, and I mean reading from like grade school. Because just traveling and stuff. A lot of podcasts,
Yeah.
I love some of the sports motivation stuff, some of the Simon Sinek stuff. But I started just getting tired. I'm on my phone all the time, anyways. I just wanted to stimulate my brain different ways. So reading, nothing crazy. I mean, I've read some good sales books and things like that. I just got done reading two of them. Was Purple Cow, just a really easy read. It's just kind of unique of just thinking
Well,
about your
Seth Godin.
business.
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
that was great.
Yeah.
And then Shoe Dog was a great one. I don't know if you've ever read the Phil Knight story, the
Yeah,
movie.
it's on my list.
That was just a really awesome book and easy read, and it just really about not giving up. And I mean, that there's no way if you read it that Nike probably should have been or still is what it is, with the adversity and some of the challenges that came through, and just believe in yourself. It's just really cool. So those are two that I've read here in the last month that have just been really, really good, easy reads.
Yeah, cool. Shoe Dog is on my list. It's come up a couple of times now, I think, on the podcast when asking that question. And for some reason, I've just never read it. So I'm looking forward to getting into
Yeah.
that one. Purple Cow, I read a long time ago when Seth Godin first put that out. So that's cool. It's a good one to go back
Yeah.
and reread. So good stuff, man. What's the best sports podcast out there these days? I need to get back into my sports game.
Sports podcast. I don't even know what the podcast want to be. I just like some of the motivational stuff. Was
Sure.
never a big Kobe Bryant stuff.
Yep.
Some of the greats, just listening to their work ethic, how they did stuff, getting back to the basics.
Yep.
Some of the simplest things. Some of the greatest people we've ever seen never get bored with the basics and just really focus on the smallest little details that made the difference and never got bored with those. And that's just, I love listening to some of that inspirational stuff from their standpoint.
Yeah. I like it too. And it's one of those things I wish more, especially salespeople, maybe because you and I both work with a lot of salespeople. This is certainly true for everybody, but there's so much opportunity to grow as a professional, as a salesperson.
Yeah.
We watch the Kobe's, we watch the Michael Jordans, we watch the Tiger Woods, we watch the greats, right? In all the different sports that we admire. And there's one of the reasons I believe that we enjoy that is there's a part of us that we see in that person. However, most people don't see themselves as professionals, right?
Yeah.
So, in my world, I'm a professional speaker. So you should expect me to get coaching on my speaking.
Yep.
Right. I met a guy at CrossFit the other day who's a retired drama teacher. He's an actor. I said, hey, would you be open to like meeting up where I could actually go over a couple parts of my keynote? Could you give me some feedback on how to make my storytelling better?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that'd be an example. So same in sales, right? So I got a lot better at sales when I started doing sales training because I was teaching it and you automatically implement it better. But the actual practice, like being in the practice of drilling, right? And knowing like, hey, when I'm picking up the phone to set a meeting, like there's only 1 or 2 scripts that I'm going to use. And I know they work.
Yep.
Right. And 8 times out of 10, like that becomes an appointment if I use that script. Right.
Yep.
But a lot of people don't because they don't see themselves as a professional. They see themselves as someone doing the job.
It's true.
And that's where I would love, more sales leaders such as yourself to be even more intentional with the training and coaching for people, because lives can be changed financially. Lives can be changed for so many people, if they would just get that, you know what I'm saying?
True. Very true.
Yeah, absolutely. What role does vulnerability play in your role?
Vulnerability. I think it's important in every role, to be honest. But in my role, again, I think self-awareness is huge. Just being vulnerable and honest with yourself, what you're good at. I mean, I don't think you can be anything. You can't be everything to everybody. And I see in our business, whether it's our salespeople, us as leaders that are just truly honest about what we're good or not good at, and finding somebody that supplements that. And I mean that in a proactive way. I think it could go backwards too if somebody just is lazy and wants somebody to do the job for them. But if you're a great relationship person and you're not good at the technical side, find somebody else that'll do it. That'll help you. They'll be a teammate with you, and share that back and forth. But I think it starts with just recognizing yourself and just understanding what you're great at. Lean on that, and then find other people within an organization, or make yourself better if it's public speaking or whatever, and just try to get better. But everybody's going to have their strength, and I think if you're just vulnerable and open about that, share that with people and allow other people to help you. I feel like that's a huge thing. Once you get to that point, that's where I see a lot of our people get really good, and myself as well.
Good stuff, man. All right. Well, if I want to come on the AgXplore team, how do we reach out? Where do we find you?
Should be able to get us on a couple platforms. We try to take a lot of pride in getting in the social media platform. At this point, we have our website, obviously AgXplore.com. We should be on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all those kind of things. And then obviously we have our home office number, and get hold of any local salesperson or any of us. We're all very open to have a conversation. Any leadership team with anybody.
Absolutely. You guys have done a really good job of putting a lot of stuff out on TikTok, LinkedIn. I mean, there's no shortage of access to AgXplore content, and Gunny does a great job. Gunther Krebs does a great job of explaining the science behind how products work and how plants like to eat. So I enjoy it. I've learned a ton, agronomically speaking, just by watching what Gunny puts out there. So I'd recommend people check that stuff out too.
Yes, absolutely.
Good stuff, man. Well, thanks for doing the show. Thanks for being in here. Good to get your thoughts. Appreciate it.
Yep, I appreciate it, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.